Hey everybody, excuse my hair. It's jacked up right now. I'm working with it. What? Okay, go play. I wanted to talk about my third pregnancy and how that all transpired and his delivery, because he's here now. He was born September 8th at 12:55 in the afternoon, I believe it was. Yeah, it was 12:55. He weighed 7 pounds, 5 ounces. So he was a pretty big baby. He was bigger than my last two. My oldest one, who's 3 now. He was 6 pounds even and was 19 inches long. And then my middle child now, who is almost 2, he was 6 pounds, 12 ounces, and was 20 inches. And then my newest one, who is only 5 weeks old right now, he was 7 pounds, 5 ounces, and was 20 inches long. I went in, so the whole pregnancy, starting out, couldn't really pinpoint when my period or my implantation bleeding had stopped or ended. So we kind of had to play a guessing game. I had made my first doctor's appointment after taking, I think it was 5 or 6 tests. Every single test always came back positive, but it was a faint positive. Go around. It was a faint positive. So because of it being a faint positive, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to keep taking tests until it comes back, a little more clear, I guess you could say. So I repeatedly kept taking them. And then I just so happened to take a digital one. That came back and said pregnant. So my fiance was asleep at the time. I ran up to him and I said, well, looks like we're having another baby. Not really planned. I mean, was, but wasn't. We were going to wait till our middle child was at least 2.5. Well, that happened before then. But, I mean, it happens. I'm still happy. It's just a little more on us right now. We have a lot going on in our life, and adding a newborn baby to it just made things a little more complicated, but it's okay. But with this pregnancy, everything was pretty good up until my doctor went back through my history and noticed that I had gone in at 34 weeks to have my oldest one, and then he stayed in, and then I had him at 36 weeks and 1 day, and she's like, I want you to go in and get your cervix checked, make sure everything's all good with baby, get measurements of him and everything, all that. I said, okay, that's fine. So I went in, did that. I had to go all the way to Rockford, Illinois for that again. Cervix, finned. Your cervix is supposed to be like a 2.5. Mine was a 2.4. So they're like, we're going to have to do a cyclotch, which is the very first time I've ever had to have a surgery done, ever in my lifetime. I was actually in a OR. I was awake for the entire thing. That was really scary. I had an epidural put in my back. I've had one of those before. Hate them, but got it. For this procedure, I had to have it. And then Of course, this was a male doctor that was doing this, so that kind of freaked me out a little bit, but I was okay with it. Like, I needed this to be done. I needed my baby to stay in longer and stuff like that. So I went in, got this procedure done. That same day that I had the procedure done, I was able to go home. I had to stay out of work for a week. What ended up happening was I was out of work for 3-4 days, and then I went back to work for a day, and then was out of work for 3 days. But I was doing okay. I was in a little bit of pain, but not too bad. And then, Noah, please get down. I don't need you hurting yourself. Sorry, my oldest child was just standing on the counter. Here. You're welcome. Got it? Okay, go. So, with that having to be done, I got stitches put in my cervix. Those had to stay in until I was 36 weeks. I also had to take the P17 shots until I was 36 weeks. And then I got the stitches out at 37 weeks. So I had my last shot, and then that same day we scheduled my cerclage removal, and I went in, and they just did it in one of the labor and delivery rooms. My doctor did it in one of the labor and delivery rooms. And then I had to stay there for like an hour, I think it was. Yeah, I had to stay there for an hour. I was having contractions at that point, so I was in a way in active labor, but not really. We thought that I was going to have him that day just because of how my contractions were. But then they subside. So they're like, we're just going to send you home. Keep an eye on the contractions. If they start to pick up or you start to bleed, come back in. Okay. Well, my contractions after that started to pick up. Made it to 38 weeks. That was interesting. And that was our goal, was to make it to 38 weeks. Well, I made it to 38 weeks. And then throughout that entire time, each day I was having really bad labor cramping and stuff like that, but then it would subside. So it's like, I can't just go in if it's going to subside before I go in. So we just kept an eye on it, like, really closely. I was counting them and timing them and stuff like that, and they weren't really all that close together. So I just didn't go in. I even told the nurses, I was like, I've been having contractions this entire time, but I didn't go in because the contractions were not, in my opinion, close enough, and they weren't lasting long enough. So I just didn't go in. And they're like, okay, that's fine. So then 39 weeks come. Still pregnant. And I had a doctor's appointment with my doctor. Everything was good there. And she's like, if you start to have anything, any more contractions, or you lose your mucus plug or your water breaks, come on in. All right. So went home, and I was having my contractions still throughout the day. She checked me. I was dilated to 1 centimeter and like 60% face at the time. So, I was getting there, but not quite there. So I was like, okay, I can do this, and went home and just kind of did whatever. And shortly after that, the next day, me and my youngest one took a nap because I was really, really tired. The oldest one had my phone and was watching YouTube on my phone. And he was being really, really good. So I was like, okay, I could take a nap. I don't have to worry about him getting into anything because he's being really, really good right now. So me and my youngest one took a nap. Woke up at about 4:30. It was like almost 5. And I got up and went to the bathroom. So I had to pee really bad. I had a lot of this like pressure in my pelvis. And I was like, okay. Maybe it might be today. Don't know. Went to the bathroom, and of course I was a little constipated. So when I did actually finally go, mucus plug came out as well. And they're not kidding when they say it's nasty looking. There was blood on it and everything. It was gross. But had that happen. Called. Yeah. Go play. Go play. Okay, go play. Mucus plug came out and everything, and contractions picked up even stronger. Not like real strong, but a little stronger than it was before. So I was like, okay, this is really, really happening. I texted my fiance, who had just came here, dropped off his friend's truck here, and got into our vehicle and went back over to his work, which was right down the road. And so because it was just right down the road, I ended up calling him or texting him, and I was like, hey, you need to get back here. He's like, why? What's going on? Is everything okay? I said, no, not everything's okay. Like, I am about to go into labor, like, now. So you need to get here, and we need to go to the hospital. And so he's like, okay, I'm on my way. Like, he thought I was kidding at first. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking kidding. You need to get here, and you need to, like, let's go. And
what doing? Babe, what doing?
I'm live streaming. Go.
Hello? I name it Nova.
Okay,
And
go play.
Emmett.
Go play. So then, I get to the hospital and everything. Well, we get about halfway to the hospital. Then we realized that we forgot our other two kids' diaper bags. So we had to come back here. We had to turn around. We were already halfway there. We had to turn around and come back. And then he's like, if your dad isn't at the hospital and he's at our place, then what are we going to do? And I said, well, what we'll do is we'll just trade. We'll change plans. We'll have dad take me to the hospital and you stay with the kids then. So that's what ended up happening. My dad ended up taking me to the hospital. My fiance stayed with our older two boys and just hung out and did whatever here. And my dad took me to the hospital. Now, while I was in the hospital, my contractions progressed fairly quickly. They could tell on the monitors my contractions were progressing very quickly, but I was still consistently dilated to 1 centimeter. I was not dilating any more than that, but because I lost my mucus plug, but my water did not break yet. They didn't want to send me home because of that, so they ended up keeping me. The nurse told my doctor, her contractions have picked up. They are getting stronger. Should we keep her? And they're like, yeah, keep her. So my doctor told them to just fill out the paperwork, keep her there. So I ended up staying. They told me that they're gonna, if I want to, I can go ahead and take an epidural, and they can bring in some food for me if I want to eat. And try and get some rest. And I said, yes, please give me the epidural so I can get some sleep. I don't want to be exhausted when I go in, and it's time to actually deliver. I don't want to be exhausted and tired. And so they're like, all right, no problem. So they had the doctor that does the epidural and stuff like that, the anesthesiologist or whatever. He came in. He explained it to me. I was like, I've had an epidural before. I even told him, I was like, I think you even gave it to me the last time. I think you gave it to me when I had my first one, or it was a different one or something like that. And stop, buddy. And so he's like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah. So he's like, okay, so you know what to do, kind of. I was like, yeah, but it's been like it's been like 3 years since I've had one. And he's like, okay. He's like, it looks like it's been a while since you've had one. I was like, yeah, it's been a while. And so he went over it all over again with me. He's like, you gotta lean forward, you gotta bring your shoulders forward, you gotta put your head down, to your chest, stuff like that. And so I did all that, and we got the epidural in, And it was one of those ones where, like, you had to push a button to, like, put more in if you feel like you're starting to feel the contractions again or you're starting to feel pain again. You just push the button and it puts more in. Well, that's what I was doing. Every so often, I'd just push it a little bit, put a little bit more in, make me feel a little more comfortable. And so, like, I was able to sleep, but the nurses were coming in about every hour to a half hour to just kind of, like, check up on me, make sure I'm doing okay, check my vitals, stuff like that, check on baby, those sort of things. Everything was doing really well. My vitals were good, everything like that, but just in case, they had blood set aside and was, like, waiting for me if I needed it, which I did later on, but that'll come to that once it's time to talk about his delivery. But so I was in labor basically the entire night on the 7th of September, and that day I went in at 7:08. My dad stayed with me till about 9:30, 10, and then he went home because he had to take his heart meds and get some rest. So he's like, just call me if anything starts to happen. He, like, told the nurse, if anything starts to happen, just call me. I'm going to go home and take my heart meds and get some rest. And they're like, okay, yeah, no, that's totally fine. And we went the entire night without anything happening. And the very next day, my dad was like, he came in about 8:39. I ended up falling back to sleep again. And I guess while I was sleeping, he decided he was going to go check his mail or something. And when he came back, what? No, here, go take the money. Go play. I want you guys to play. You don't need to be on my phone. Just go play. But during that time, like, while my dad was gone, I ended up waking up out of a dead sleep and having to push my nurse call button because I was starting to feel my contractions again, and I was starting to feel the pressure. No, your baby brother is in there. And hey. Get off your brother. No.
Stop it.
Please don't wake up. Anyways, so, like, this was at about, I want to say 10, 11. They came in, after calling them, they're like, okay, she's like, I'm going to wait for the contraction to stop and the pressure to stop. We'll lay you down, we'll check you, all that. So that's what they did. And they checked me. But yeah, they laid me down, they checked me. At this point, I was dilated to about a 2, maybe 3. And they're like, well, you're only dilated to about like a 2 or 3. Well, what happened was when my doctor came in to check me. What? Sorry, guys. Hold on. But yeah, like, so my doctor, my OBGYN doctor came in and she checked me and she's like, you're still dilated to 1 centimeter, but she had found that when she checked me and she was feeling my cervix and everything, she's like, where the hell did this come from? I was like, what? And she's like, hey, no. She's like, there is stitches on the side of your cervix. She said that there were stitches on the side of your cervix. And I was like, well, how the hell is that even possible when we cut the stitches that were in my cervix when I was 37 weeks? And she's like, I don't know. But she's like, I'm going to go ahead and cut them, and then we'll see what happens. Well, right after she cut them, my stuff. I do not have the food stamp card, and no. Stop running. But right after she cut that out, like after she cut the stitches, I progressively started going up. I don't have any money. And like during that process of like getting up there, I dilated very quickly. I went from like a 2 to a 2-3 to like a 6, and then I jumped from a 6 to an 8, and then the pressure got really, really bad. So then the nurse came back in, and I was dilated to about a 9.5 centimeters. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and call your doctor and let her know that it's starting to happen. There. Jesus. She's like, I'm gonna call your doctor and let her know that you're gonna start having a baby. And I'm like, all right. So that gave her time to get up there. Well, I ended up calling the nurse back in like less than 2-3 minutes later. I ended up calling her back in, and I was like, the pressure is getting really, really, really bad. So she checked me again, and she's like, oh, you're dilated to 10 centimeters, honey, and you're crowning. So So what ended up happening was she said, I'm going to go and call your OBGYN again. And right when she was about to leave out the room to go do that, she walked right in. And she got over to where I was. They were getting my legs put up and everything. And they're like, all right, it is now time to start pushing when the next contraction hits. Well, the next contraction came, I pushed. And then I relaxed, and then another contraction hit, and I pushed. I think it took about the first initial push that I did, it was more of like a, oh my God, I'm having to do this now. And then the second push was a really strong push. The first one was more of like trying to get my bearings on it. But by the second time, I knew what I was doing, and I was like, all right, it clicked. And his head was like super close to coming out. And then I pushed one more time. His head came out. And then the doctor's like, okay, hold on a minute. I'm going to, rotate him. And then you can push the rest of the way. She rotated him, which I felt her rotate him. And then I just pushed, and the rest of him came out. And then they put him on my stomach. Now, my dad was still gone during this entire time. And I cut the umbilical cord. And right after I cut the umbilical cord, and just as my placenta was about to come out, my dad shows up. And I was like, well, what perfect timing, Dad. Like, you should have been here like 10 minutes ago. But, yeah. Like, we didn't even have time to call my dad. We didn't have time to do anything. It just happened. So he came out. Then it was time to get the placenta out. Placenta came out. And then the doctor was like, okay, you have 2 little cuts here in the same spot that you had from before. And I was like, okay. So she's like, I can stitch those up. And she asked the nurse to give her some Novocaine to kind of numb me up down there. It wasn't working. Neither was my epidural at this point. So she's like, okay, well, we're going to have to go to the OR, and we're going to have to stitch her up. But every time my doctor stuck her hand inside to feel if there was any other stitches, if there's any other cuts. Hey, enough. She went to stick her hand in to see if there was any other cuts anywhere. And when she did, and she pulled her hand back out, she had a lot of blood on her hands. So she's like, okay, we're going to have to go to the OR. So we went to the OR. I was in the OR. I was in the OR for about 2.5 hours, almost 3. Right when my baby was born, I got to be with him for a little while. They were waiting for the OR to open. They were waiting for everybody to be able to be in there. They were prepping it for me. And then during that time though, I was able to spend a little bit of time with him. I was holding him. I had him on my chest. I was feeding him, all that, and I think he fed on me for about 5-10 minutes, and then I ended up giving him to my dad, which we bundled him up, and then I passed him over to my dad, and then I went right from the labor and delivery room to the OR. I got into the OR, and they're like, okay, we're going to give you a different type of epidural, like the epidural that we give to our patients that are going in for a C-section. I said, okay. So they're like, yeah, you're gonna be... What? I love you too. Stop yelling. They're like, we're going to give you the epidural that we give to our patients that are going in for a C-section, which means you're going to be numbed from the waist down. Well, I was numbed from, like, my rib cage down to my toes. Like, I could not feel a thing. They kept asking me, are you feeling anything? I was like, no, I just feel pressure, and that's it. They're like, okay. And I was like, and then they asked me, they kept checking on me, like, are you okay? How you doing? I'm like, I'm okay. I'm just really, really tired. Whatever. They're like, okay, well, we're almost done. I was like, all right. And I fell asleep a couple times on the table. And then I woke up, like, yeah, it was scary. But they had blood ready for me, and when they were done, they put a nausea thing on my gown. Like, they taped it to me. It's like a mint. It had like a mint smell to it, which helped with the nausea. But they put that on me. And then, what?
Jake,
they put that on me, so it wasn't as nauseous. But then, I went to, yes, I know, I see, I hear. We went back to my labor and delivery room, and that's where I spent the rest of the day, just kind of relaxed. They had to give me iron because I was anemic, so they gave me iron to kind of boost my irons up. They were kind of low. Excuse me. And then, yes, I love you too. And then during that whole time, what? No, I'm having to hold your baby brother because you wanted to go in there. Anyways, during that time, I ended up, like, go away.
Mom.
No, you don't. Bring it back here now. You stop. But yeah, so during that whole time, I ended up staying in the hospital for a total of 4 days. The only reason why I stayed in there for 4 days was because the one day that I was supposed to go home, my dad was going to be 3 hours up north visiting with my brother. So I was like, I'm not going to try and have somebody else come pick me up. I'm just not doing it. And I didn't feel comfortable going home yet because I still kind of felt not ready yet. So I asked him, I was like, can I just stay another day? They're like, yeah, that's fine. I talked it over with my doctor. My doctor even came in and talked to me about it. And she's like, if you want to stay another day, that's fine. That's up to you. And I was like, I would like to stay another day just because I don't feel comfortable going home yet. And they're like, okay, that's fine. So I stayed another day. And then, where's your cup? Go get it. And then, after that, I went home Sunday, and it was raining, and so I ended up going home. Where is your cup? Nova, give your brother his cup now. Nova, go get your cup. Jesus Christ. Nova, give him his cup now. Now. I will beat your ass. Don't fucking do that again. But yeah, so I ended up staying there till about Sunday, and then I came home. Of course, it was raining. I was still in a lot of pain. They had me on like 3 different types of pain meds. They had me on oxycodone. They had me on something else. I had to take it like once a day or something like that, or 2 times a day, something like that. Plus, they had me on like another type of pain reliever, like an Advil or whatever. And then, dude, go grab me a pull-up because you need to get your butt changed. And then, hold on. And then, Nova, give your brother the pull-up that's sitting right there, right in front of the chair. Nova, by the garbage bags, right there is a pull-up. Oh my God. I can't with a 3-year-old right now. Then get up right here. Go. Because you want to be so badly up here. I have your brother in my lap. You're not sitting in front of me. Stop. Sit right there. Stop. I have your brother. God. You need to go take a fucking nap. But yeah, anyways. I came home. I didn't even go and pick up my prescriptions. I literally just came straight home. And I had my fiance go and get them because I was just in too much pain. I didn't want to go and get my pain medications. So I had my fiance go and get them, like right after I got back here. He went and got some stuff. And he went to go and get my prescription, but it wasn't ready yet, so he had to wait. He's like, I gotta wait at least an hour, and I was like, okay. So he waited about an hour or 2, and then he went and got them. It was nice that they had given me my pain meds before I left the hospital, because then I'd have to take them once I got my prescriptions. But yeah, I'm also breastfeeding. And when I had brought him home, he cluster fed for a while, and then he kind of like slowed down with the cluster feeding, but then he picked it back up for a little while, and then now he just eats about every hour or so to about 3 hours. It all kind of depends. What? Fucking hell, go lay down. But yeah, so, sorry, that you just saw, that is my 1-year-old that's about to be 2, and he's fussy right now, and he needs to take a freaking nap. It's driving me nuts with the crying and the screaming. But yeah, I'm breastfeeding, and for a while there, he was cluster feeding. The pediatrician that I have for him, currently, I don't like. She's a nice lady and all. It's nothing to do with that. It's just the fact that we went in for his 1-week checkup. He was 6'14". When we went back for his 2-week checkup, he was 6'13". He had dropped like an ounce. And she immediately went to, we need to start supplementing. Excuse me, we do not need to start supplementing at all. I will say when it's time to supplement. He's only 2 weeks old. I'm not gonna do that. He's having a hard, I was like, he's already having a hard time trying to latch onto me, let alone trying to get him to latch onto a bottle is gonna be even harder. So, what do you have that your brother wants? Good. Anyways, but yeah, so I was just like, no, I'm not gonna start supplementing. And it was a good thing I didn't, because when we went in for his next checkup, like, he did a weigh-in. 4 days later, he did a weigh-in, and he was 7 pounds 7 ounces, and was 21 inches. So I mean, he's putting on the weight, which is good. I'm just hoping that he keeps that weight on. He's got another appointment on the 20th of this month, and that'll be his 1-month checkup. It'll be like a little after 1 month, after his 1 month, but it's his 1-month checkup. I'm fingers crossed that is all good. Why do you have the Sharpie? Put it back now. I am so mad that your dad even brought that fucking thing up here with Sharpies. Anyways, but yeah, I've been breastfeeding ever since, and I don't pump. I exclusively just breastfeed, because it took me a long while just to get him to latch on. We still have some issues every now and then. It's like he doesn't know where to place he doesn't know how to do his tongue, like put his tongue, yeah, it's just a big mess. If he's half asleep, it's really hard to do it. And currently he's asleep because a while ago I breastfed him. This is him. He's so itty bitty still. I know, baby, hold on. But yeah, this outfit that he's wearing is a 3-month outfit. That's why it's so big. But yeah. Yeah, this is him. He's my big boy. It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is he's still gonna sleep through it. He's tired. His brothers wake him up a lot, so This poor baby's definitely tired. He sleeps through the night though. I know he's not supposed to, but he does anyways. The doctor, his pediatrician said that it's fine because what he does do is he will wake up at about 4 or 5 o'clock and want me to feed him. So I do so. But I usually feed him, I'll feed him at 10, and then I'll feed him at 12, and then after that, he stays asleep the entire night. That's why. Because I don't necessarily go to bed until about 11, 12 o'clock. So, that's why he sleeps through the night. And then I feed him again at, like I said, about 4 or 5 o'clock. This morning, though, it wasn't until about 7, 8 that I ended up having to feed him. But, I've been feeling sick since yesterday. And not, like, throw up sick. Like, upset stomach, nauseous, but constantly having to be in the bathroom. I had really bad diarrhea. And today, it was so bad that when I went to get up, I was starting to poop. I know, TMI, and I had to run to the bathroom. I had to put my baby down in the bassinet and run to the bathroom. I left the door open and everything. I just left the door open, sat down, went. Yeah, it was horrible. But, hoping I'm feeling a little bit better now. Fingers crossed. But, yeah, that was all because I ate taquitos yesterday for lunch. And I told my fiance I'm not eating taquitos again for a while. Because we made them in the microwave. And, yeah, that was horrible. So I'm not doing it again. Mini tacos? I can eat those in the microwave, no problem. Taquitos? They have to be either in the air fryer or oven. Or deep fried. Definitely not doing that again. If anything, I'll home make them. So that I know what's going into them. But yeah, my kids didn't get sick from them. I did. I don't know. So yeah, I just won't eat that again. And not only that, but the last few days we did have fast food. We had Taco Bell one night, we had McDonald's another night, and then another night before that, we had Quick Trip food, which usually I don't have issues with that. Quick Trip food is usually really, really good, and I don't have problems with it. So, I don't know what's going on with my body, but I would really like it to stop. Yeah. It just, Nova! Are you kidding me? Mr. Golden Sun, please shine down on me. Oh, Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, hiding behind